What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and share the video. Hit the join button and become a member. Why? Well, members get exclusive content. Hit the bell icon on my channel so that you'll receive a notification every time I drop a video. You can go check the video out. Let's get right into it. Young Thug, once again, the Young Thug trial. I'm going to bring you all up to date. Pay attention. Let's get involved. Here, Young Thug's lawyer goes to jail. He is held in contempt of court once he exposes a secret meeting by the judge, the DA, and a witness. The judge, let's get into it. The judge is in all sorts of hot water. They're deciding right now as we speak whether or not he is to continue with the case or not. He could be recused from the case. But let's get into it and we'll talk about it as we go.
Mr. Steele, I am going to hold you still hold you in summary criminal contempt.
The judge in Young Thug's RICO trial orders the rapper's attorney to jail for contempt.
How did you get that information supposedly from my chambers? Did somebody tell you?
You should have told me.
You got 5 minutes.
This happened after lawyer Brian Steele refused to tell the judge how he found out about a meeting between the judge, the prosecutor, and a state's witness. Steele's lawyer is here with what's next for him and Young Thug's trial. I'm Anjanette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. It was a crazy, wild day in court in Young Thug's trial. On Monday, it started with testimony from Kenneth Copeland, who goes by Little Woody. Copeland wasn't really into testifying, despite being given immunity by the prosecution. He spent the weekend in jail after refusing to testify on Friday. Copeland took the stand on Monday.
So, as she just said, that's Kenneth Copeland, a major part of this trial, a major part of Young Thug's trial. His AKA is Little Woody. He was a rapper as well, a part of this YSL crew. We're going to get into Lil Woody a lot as we go along. Lil Woody, again, is a major character, a major player in YSL, allegedly, and certainly in this case. Now, Lil Woody made statements during the interrogation where he pointed the finger at Young Thug and others. But he had made a deal with the prosecution. Lil Woody here. He gets immunity if he testifies. Now, when he went to go testify, he came with all sorts of antics. He got to plead in the fifth. They asked him how old he was. He said, "I'm grown." Lil Woody has had all kind of moments here in the court where he's antagonizing the prosecution, etc. So he's not necessarily keeping up with this end of the bargain with this immunity deal that he agreed to. He's supposed to get up here and testify, but he's not doing it. Instead, he's making a mockery of the court. So, the prosecution, the judge, this apparently, he seems a bit corrupt. We're about to see as this goes along. And Lil Woody's attorney was sometimes present and sometimes not present with this ex parte meeting in the judge's chambers somewhere, and the defense was not involved in the meeting. The defense is supposed to get a notification that they're about to have a meeting with a witness. They're supposed to be in on it. Instead, they had a secret meeting, the judge, the prosecution, and this guy here, Woody, in which the judge, or rather the prosecution, threatened Lil Woody, saying that if he did not testify, they was going to lock him up and that he could be locked up for the duration of the trial until the case has concluded on all 28 defendants. That's a threat. That's coercion. That's trying to force him to testify. This is illegal. And this is why the defense attorney was supposed to be in on such a meeting. But he knew nothing about it. He found out through a third party that they had this meeting with the witness, the judge, and the prosecution. So he exposed it there in court. Young Thug's attorney said, Your Honor, I heard about this meeting that y'all had with this guy, Lil Woody, without our knowledge. What the hell is this? And the judge becomes outraged and makes it about something other than this secret meeting that he had with Lil Woody. He makes it about the lawyer finding out about it. He makes it about the information. No, it's not about that. It's about the fact that you had a secret meeting with the witness. Illegal. Oh, man.
Monday and let it be known that he wasn't going to do it.
And Mr. Copeland, good afternoon. Do you want to be here?
Ma'am,
Do you want to be here?
I'm here.
Okay. Are you going to let me ask you some questions?
Okay.
How old are you?
Grown.
Okay, what does grown mean?
I'm an adult.
Okay. And when you say you're an adult, what number in years are you?
I plead the fifth.
So after that, Brian Steele let the court know that he found out that Judge Earl Glanville, prosecutors, and Copeland with his lawyer met in chambers without members of the defense teams, including Steele, present.
Been looking for the past year to get these dental implants put in because
I was told, based upon information and belief, that when we arrived at 8:30, 9 o'clock today, we did not come into your courtroom until almost 11:30. And what I found out just recently, this is not waived, is that supposedly in chambers, this honorable court reporter at times, honorable court at times, district attorney or district attorneys from the DA's office, as well as investigators, sheriff deputies, Mr. Copeland and his counsel met together. None of the defense team, to my knowledge, was aware that this was going on. It was told, based upon information belief, that it was told to the district attorneys that Mr. Copeland intended to plead the Fifth Amendment.
Can I interrupt you for just a second? I'm kind of disturbed because that's ex parte. All that was an ex parte conversation. How did you find out about any of that?
Now, this seems really unusual that a judge would be meeting in chambers with a state's witness and the prosecutor without a member of the defense team there. But Judge Glanville was furious that Steele found out about the meeting in chambers.
So I understand that you're upset towards me, but I don't know what I did.
Mr. Steele, I still want to know, how did you come upon this information? Who told you?
What I want to know is why wasn't I there? Why,
sir? I'm going to hold you in contempt if you don't tell me who tell me who this information was
I
coming
don't want to be
from.
held in contempt.
Well,
I'm not
then,
answering that question. That's attorney-client privilege information. I am not answering.
Attorney-client privilege. Unless you were in my chambers, that's the only way you can figure out.
I
tell you what. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. If you don't tell me
don't have to.
If you don't tell me who it is, I'm going to put you. I'm going to put you in contempt because that is not attorney-client privilege.
Attorney work product privilege. I am not.
How did you get that information supposedly from my chambers? Did somebody tell you?
I'm not. You should have told me.
You got 5 minutes.
Glanville actually ordered that Steele be thrown out of court for the day.
So the judge is pissed off that he found out about this secret meeting. And you see the prosecution, the little black woman over there shaking her head. And says, no, that's not attorney-client privilege. She's trying to signal to the judge. And he found out about this meeting. And the judge is later going to say that it was an alleged meeting. But at the end of this video, I'm going to play you a clip that this judge finally, a couple of days ago, released the transcripts from this secret meeting that he had with the prosecution and Little Woody there in the chambers. So it wasn't an alleged meeting, Your Honor. You had this meeting, just like the lawyer said. And when he brought it up and exposed the fact that he found out that you had a secret meeting with a witness, a key witness on the case, without him being present, you became upset and put him in jail, held him in contempt, and put him in jail, put the lawyer in jail. This is why the judge is in hot water now. Yeah, he did. Then the prosecutor's about to get up here and speak because she's worried about if Young Thug gets found guilty, him or his crew, she's worried about an appeal. because of, misconduct here in the courtroom, that you guys are doing underhanded stuff. People come back on appeal for this sort of stuff all of the time. Legalities. And she's worried about that. So she's going to get up there and say, we had the right to have this meeting and this and that, because she's worried about the appellate court saying, what the hell is this? What was this? And then we find out, like I said, we're going to find out at the end that, yeah, they pretty much threatened Lil Woody in there. You better testify or else. And then he ended up testifying. This is what the defense attorney was supposed to be there. What the fuck?
Over Steele's objection and the objection of his co-counsel.
Well, I'm going to hold you in contempt, and you can think about it. 5 o'clock today, we'll see where you are at that stand on that point. Because no, that's not what I understand the rule to be. I've not asked you sum and substance of what was said. I asked you how you got it.
I can't do that.
Yes, you can, because I have an idea how you got it.
Well, your idea
I have
may
an
be
idea
wrong.
how you got it, but that's improper, sir.
Your idea may be wrong, and you're asking me to listen. I told you the first time, and I'm not going to breach that confidence.
I don't want to hold you in contempt, but this is that serious.
Judge,
You cannot eavesdrop and get information that was
He
not
eavesdropping heard the conversation.
not meant for you to hear at that particular point in time.
The prosecutor on the case, Adrian Love, said there was nothing improper about what happened with this ex parte meeting in chambers regarding Kenneth Copeland being held in contempt.
We certainly have the right to request ex parte communications. That's why we ask that the court reporter be present. This is a matter that the defendants did not have a right to be a part of, as this was a matter regarding a civil contempt that the court imposed upon a person for not obeying the court's directive.
Now, it seems like even the prosecutor thought that this could be an issue. Adrian Love asked that Steele be allowed to return to the courtroom.
We would ask that the court fashion a punishment for the contempt that affords Mr. Williams the right during these proceedings while court is in session to both counsel for both of his counsels. For Mr. Steele to be present in the courtroom, he can still be held in contempt. But for Mr. Williams to have representation of both Mr. Steele and Mr. Adams while court is in session, and that the court's remedy does not affect his ability to have his counsel of choice represent him during this trial.
Now,
of course, the prosecution could not care less whether or not Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug, has proper representation there in the court. She's only concerned about the appellate process. The judge has held his lawyer, who he's paying a lot of money to, I'm sure, in contempt, taking him away from the case, kicking him out of the courtroom right then and there until 5 o'clock. So he can't even be in the courtroom fighting for his client who's fighting for his life. And of course, the appellate court can easily say he didn't have proper counsel. He hired a lawyer and you didn't let him lawyer. You kicked him out because he exposed you for having a secret meeting. And she says the defense didn't have to be there at the meeting. Yeah, the fuck they did. Yeah, they did, lady. Adrian Love, the prosecution. Yeah, they had to be there. That's why you didn't let the defense know that y'all were having this meeting. Because you wanted to threaten Kenneth Copeland there in the meeting and force him to testify. That's what the meeting was about. He was refusing to testify. So they had this meeting with him, and this prosecutor here, Adrian Love, told him there in the meeting, in this secret meeting, that if you do not testify, we can hold you in jail for such and such amount of time. That's coercion. That's tampering with a witness. That's threatening a witness. This is why they didn't want the defense there. And when he points this out, the judge kicks him out and holds him in contempt. She's worried about the appellate court saying that he didn't have a proper legal representation. So she's saying, Your Honor, can you let this lawyer back in here? You can still hold him in contempt. I'm good with that. But can you let him back in his courthouse to defend his client so that we'll lose this case on appeal after all of this work because you didn't kick this damn lawyer out of here? That's all. That's just translation for y'all. That's all she's saying. She couldn't care less about him.
In the day, and I mean the evening after 7 p.m., attorney Ashley Merchant came to court to represent Brian Steele in this contempt matter.
Judge, just for the record, is it criminal contempt that you held him in?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you said you had a hearing.
So she's here representing the lawyer, not Young Thug. She came on an emergency type basis to represent the lawyer that the judge is held in contempt. She's trying to stop the lawyer from going to jail. And she's about to make perfect sense. But the judge is so incensed and so pissed off, he's sticking to his guns. Well, I just want to know who said it, who told him. He's not, and she said, well, Your Honor, this is what the law says. You can't hold him in contempt unless you're a witness and this, that, and the other. And he says, well, I disagree with you. Damn, you disagree? What does the law say? But he's stuck in his ways, want to be stubborn. He sticks to his guns. This is why he's possibly about to get removed from the damn case.
Earlier today.
With criminal contempt, I told him what the contempt was, and that was he refused to order the court. If counsel, as you know, if the court orders you to do something and you don't, that's criminal contempt. So I've asked him several times, please just tell me who it is that told you. That I didn't ask or inquire about anything that was said. I just want to know who it was. Okay. Because he's got too much detail of this particular alleged conversation for the court to be concerned about.
There you go. This particular alleged conversation. We know it's not alleged, punk. You had the conversation because you just released the transcripts about the conversation. So why are you saying now there's an alleged conversation? The lawyer knows about the conversation. The prosecution just got up there and said that y'all had this conversation and that y'all had a right to have it, but she didn't deny that y'all had it, can't deny it. And now he's talking about this alleged conversation. The court is fixed
about it. So,
and Judge, since it is a criminal contempt, he is entitled to due process. He's entitled to a hearing, entitled to an actual show cause, entitled to the allegations actually written, entitled to a witness list. We're entitled to present our own witness list and notice of that.
Criminal contempt is different. It is on the spot. So he's gotten the due process he's going to get. That's on the spot. I told him. Plus, he's had all day to tell me who it is that is it. So a little different, Ms. Merchant. I'm going to disagree with you, but
well, and
okay.
Judge, just for the record, it's that's direct. So what you're holding him in is in direct criminal contempt.
Yes.
The issue with the direct criminal contempt is whether or not to actually hold a hearing now, whether or not it needs to be held immediately. And the problem is, if you hold him in direct criminal contempt, as you're saying that you did, you are a witness to that proceeding. And so it has to be referred to another judge. Doesn't require recusal. You actually have to sua sponte send it to another judge because you're a witness to the proceeding.
If you're anything like me, you are always cleaning up a mess, especially with a credit card's worth of plastic in my shower and in my laundry com/.
To comply with my earlier, still hold you.
Didn't matter one bit. Judge sent off your first order by going to blueland.com/crimefix. Argument from Merchant didn't matter one bit. Judge Glanville held Brian Steele in contempt.
Mr. Steele, I am going to hold you still hold you in summary criminal contempt pursuant to OCGA 15-1-3, subpart 3, for your failure to comply with my earlier order today. I'm going to order that you be taken into custody, incarcerated at the Fulton County Jail for no more than 20 days for this contempt. Those 20 days consisting of every weekend for the next 10 weekends. And you'll be reporting to 901 Wright Street Northwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318 at 7 p.m. on Fridays. And you'll be released on 7 p.m. on Sundays. And it's to commence this Friday, June the 14th at 7 p.m. and not to end until Sunday, August the 18th at 2024 at 7 p.m., subject to further order of this court.
Now, after the judge said that Brian Steele was going to have to spend his weekends in jail, Steele had just one request.
The day you get your Clear Choice dental implants changes your struggle with missing.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I'm going to file a notice of appeal, but for whatever reason that doesn't take, and you don't give a bond, then I'd ask that I can be with Mr. Williams and we work on our case all weekend, for all those weekends. Otherwise, I can't prepare. I speak with Mr. Williams all the time.
That's up to you. And sir, I will, sir, if that comes to pass, you have my my support. I will talk with our sheriff and
So the lawyer, Steele, Young Thug's lawyer, asks, if you're going to send me to jail, can you put me in a cell with my client? Can you put me in jail with Young Thug over the weekends? Because he just sentenced him, as you just heard, to 20 days behind bars to be served 2 days at a time on the weekends, from Friday to Saturday. From Friday to Sunday until the end of August, until the 20 days is up. And so he asks, can I be put in a cell with my client in order to work on our case? Because normally I would be working on the case at that time on the weekend. This is a serious case. Took 10 months just to pick the jury. This case is going on for years. So I need to, it's consuming my life. I don't have 2 days not to work on this case. And then I got to be in court Monday through Friday. So on the weekends, I'll work on the case. So he actually be put in a cell. That's pretty gangster. He actually be put in a cell with his cellie. Be put in there with Young Thug, Ebony, and Ivory. All right.
we may be able to make that work, okay?
And this entire thing has turned Brian Steele into a hero of sorts among defense attorneys. Joining me is Ashley Merchant. She is Brian Steele's lawyer. She's also the president of the Georgia Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. So Ashley, talk to me a little bit about how you end up at the Fulton County Courthouse last night at 7:30 at night, representing Brian Steele in this issue, this contempt matter.
Definitely not how I imagined my day beginning or ending. Right. I was in a meeting and my paralegal came in and said, your phone is lighting up and Brian's in custody. And I said, oh my God, call me on my phone. I'm getting in the car. I'm driving down there. And, you know, I've served for many years as GACTL, as our association's contempt attorney, where we have attorneys that we dispatch if any lawyers are ever held in contempt. We call it Strike Force. So I'm a member of that. So I'm one of the lawyers that regularly would represent someone. But when I heard Brian was in custody, I had to go myself. And luckily, he's very loved in our community. And so many members of our team went down there and were there. And so we had a very strong showing of force, but it was definitely something I did not expect to happen.
You're a criminal defense attorney and you've done a lot of murder trials. Is this unusual? Because it sounds unusual to me that a judge would meet in chambers with a prosecution, you know, the star witness for the prosecution, the star witness's lawyer, and they'd all be there having a confab together without a member of the defense team present. Is that weird? That seems like an ex parte communication or something.
Right. And, you know, during my hearing, the judge is admitting that he had this ex parte communication. And it seems like that should be what everyone's focused on, not whether or not Brian is going to tell him who told him the judge had this ex parte. It just seemed like deflecting. You know, the judge was in trouble, got caught with having this ex parte hearing. And instead of admit to that and handle that, you know, when Brian brought it up, they're going to throw Brian in jail. It didn't make a lot of sense. But like you said, it's unheard of. These proceedings are supposed to be what we call adversary, where all the defense is there. The defendants, the defense lawyers are all supposed to be present, but instead they chose to have this meeting without inviting any of the defense, without letting them know. And when they brought that up, the lawyer ends up in custody.
The only time I've ever heard of a defense attorney maybe being back in chambers meeting with a judge without the prosecution present or something like that happening is when it was like, oh, judge, we need to talk to you about funds we need allocated for an expert or something like that. If it's like a public defender case or something, you know, that's the only time I've heard of this type of thing happening. But this just sounds hinky. So what are you doing for Brian now? Because Brian, as of right now, is supposed to report to the jail Friday night to spend his weekend in the cell with Young Thug, getting ready for court and doing his time for this contempt that you argued that he shouldn't be serving.
Right. I mean, there's two huge issues there. The first, what we're doing is we are appealing it. So we're filing an emergency appeal. Thank God we have an emergency process in Georgia to appeal contempt orders. We believe the judges of the appellate courts will grant a bond. And so hopefully Brian will not have to spend his weekend in the jail. The worst part, though, is this trial is continuing. And so imagine, we don't just work during the hours you see us in court. When we're in court, we are regularly working after hours. We're working at night. We're working on weekends. I have never tried a case where I didn't work all weekend. And Brian is a very good lawyer, and he does a lot of work on his cases. So he's definitely working all weekend. You're taking a man from his office where he has computers, Westlaw, internet, all this stuff, access to the case file. And this case file's huge, and putting him in a jail cell where he's none of that. The trial can't continue. I mean, it's just, it boggles my mind that anybody thinks that you could have the lead defense lawyer in custody the entire weekend and this trial continue unhinged. That defies logic to me.
So you're filing the emergency appeal. I mean, I would assume you expect to hear back about that within a day or so. Am I wrong about that? Or what's the process? What's the time frame?
Yes. Luckily in Georgia, when an attorney is subject to incarceration, the appellate courts respond very quickly. And what it's called is a supersedious bond. So essentially they issue a bond that kind of stays everything and says, wait, hold on, we're going to pause this. You're not going to have to go to custody. You get to go and do this appeal. And so it just pauses that while the appeal is pending. If we're successful with the appeal, then Brian never has to go into custody. Obviously, if we lose the appeal, he could still be forced to spend weekends in custody, but that would be down the road. That wouldn't be right now.
Okay, so I'm going to stop that one right there. So that's what's going on. You just heard it. What do you guys think? Leave a comment. The judge locked the man up, sent him to jail. Young Thug's lawyer for not exposing how he received the information about this ex parte meeting that the judge had, apparently illegally, with the prosecution and a star witness. For him just having found this out when he came to court, he exposed it and said, Your Honor, I found out that you had a meeting with the prosecution and a witness. And that's coercion and threatening him. And why were we not made aware of this? And the judge gets mad, slams it. You got 5 minutes to tell me who, and damn who told me. Let's talk about this meeting, bro. He don't want to talk about that. He want to deflect, like the lawyer just said. He wants to deflect and make it about you not telling me who told you this. Man, the hell with that. You tell me why the hell you had this meeting. And then he says, this alleged meeting. Well, the prosecution already admitted to the meeting, and you did too, Your Honor. But let's go to the transcripts. He just released the transcripts, this judge, of that meeting in question with Little Woody and Adrian Love here, the prosecution. The judge just released the transcripts under pressure about this ex parte meeting. So you done locked this lawyer up for this meeting that you did in fact have without his knowledge, and now you were forced to expose it. Really? Okay. Let's see. Let's get into it. Transcripts release, y'all. Let's see what they say.
The judge presiding over the YSL trial has released a transcript of the controversial secret meeting with a key witness last month.
That meeting happened in Chief Judge Ural Glanville's chambers and caused outrage from defense attorneys. Fox 5's Christine Spiro is at the live desk with the latest on this. Christine?
Courtney and Russ, in that meeting, prosecutors told Kenneth Copeland if he refused to testify, he could be jailed until all the defendants finished their trials. Now, several other attorneys for Copeland say they weren't present in the meeting because they weren't told about it. They have since pushed to have Judge Glanville removed from the case because of this. Copeland was held in contempt on June 7th, the Friday before the secret meeting on June 10th. He was jailed for refusing to answer prosecutors' questions. At the time, Copeland said he would invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. The released transcript also contains an email from one of Copeland's attorneys accusing prosecutors of endangering his client by forcing him to testify. Prosecutors pushed back on that claim. The transcript also stated prosecutor Adrian Love raised concerns about whether Copeland understood the immunity agreement in exchange for his testimony. The judge told Copeland they wanted to give him the chance to ask questions and clear up any confusion before he was brought to testify. Now, in response, Copeland told Judge Glanville, quote, "I have never been truthful a day in my life. I don't comprehend none of this stuff that's going on." The meeting ended with Copeland finally agreeing to testify. Now, the trial was placed on hold yesterday until another judge decides if Judge Glanville can stay on the case. We'll be watching for that development. At the live desk, Christine Spear.
Can Judge Glanville stay on the case? That's the question. Well, so there you have it, people. The judge, they're deciding now whether he is to be recused. You see, the lawyer for Lil Woody sends an email and says, "Y'all putting my client's life in danger trying to force him to testify." So the judge had a secret meeting with Lil Woody, a star key witness against Young Thug, because he had refused to testify. He had invoked his Fifth Amendment right there on the stand, as we saw. So they hurried him back into a room. "Man, you better testify. You better testify. That's the deal we had. Or else. And didn't tell the lawyers about this meeting. And then when the lawyer finds out about it, he finds out about it. Someone exposed it. He exposed it there in the courtroom. That's all he did. "Judge, I hear you had a meeting without me. What the hell is this?" And the judge holds him in contempt and sends him to jail, instead of admitting to the meeting and admitting that he was wrong. It's crazy. So this is the Young Thug trial that's going on, man. It's getting deep. So we're about to find out whether or not this judge will be recused or not. Coming up, I'm going to get more into Lil Woody and his position here in this trial and the charges against him and his case. And is he snitching or not? Young Thug, he's in for it right now, man. Stay free, people.